Hey guys, thanks for joining us again here at NYC Chat Room with Tiffany and Lauren. Today we are going to talk about our trip. We just came back from El Salvador. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know if you have any other questions about our trip.
We chose El Salvador because, you know, throughout this whole situation we've been in internationally, it was a well-traveled destination. We've been looking at that colorful slide all summer long, so we thought it was a nice safe in terms of, you know, the restrictions and stuff like that place for us to go. Right. We flew from New York, and it was a decent flight. I think it took us about 5 hours.
Right.
Total. It was a, how would you describe the airport?
It wasn't too busy.
Pretty
it wasn't,
straightforward, right?
It was pretty much a typical airport. It was very colorful. They had a lot. It's very colorful. The weather, of course, was beautiful.
As soon as
we didn't have any issues. We got our bags. Pretty good. I will say, if you are going to brush up on your, you know, high school Spanish a little bit, learn some basic words.
There aren't too many people who speak English in El Salvador.
Yeah, they do work with you though.
Yeah,
the people are very nice, so they do work with you, trying to, you know, speak English. Yeah. But yeah, brush up on it a little bit.
Because other countries that we've gone to where they speak Spanish, you'll find like maybe 1 out of 2 people will be able to communicate with you in English. Right. Not in El Salvador.
Yeah,
so if you're walking up trying to speak English, they're gonna look at you like,
yeah, they will. So learn some keywords. Yeah. Or have your little translator app that they have that handy.
So we stayed in an Airbnb, and our Airbnb host definitely hooked us up with a driver who met us at the airport. So that made our transition from the airport to our accommodation very easy. Right. And he spoke pretty good English.
Yes, he did.
So
thank God for that.
Yeah, so, you know, he picked us right up, had a little sign, you know, we pulled up, and we were on our way. Now, in El Salvador, right out the gate, there's going to be a lot of travel for you, like a lot of driving from point A to point B, because a lot of things are very spaced out there.
Even from the airport to our destination was like an hour. Right.
When we first, you know, getting off the plane, it took us about an hour to get to our Airbnb. We stayed in El Tunco.
Which is like Surf City.
Right.
Of course, us being black travelers, there weren't too many of us, but
I think we saw
4?
Yeah, the 2 ladies, and then the lady,
a guy,
and then a guy, and then us. So,
and then us.
Right. So everybody else was, and we did kind of stick out. You know, people were interested, looking. So, but what I really liked was, because we're Caribbean, so we like a good coconut, coconut water, and being in New York, you know, to get a coconut could be like upwards of like $15
for one,
to get like a green coconut where you could drink the water. They're $1 on the way from the airport,
and it's a lot of them.
Yeah, it's like just ladies,
and it's just
gents.
$1. You get a whole coconut. It was really good.
Several carts, like there's cart after cart after cart after cart of coconuts on your way from the airport. So when we finally arrived to our Airbnb in El Tunco, it was a very unique experience. Our accommodation, I would liken it to a tree house.
Yes,
it was like a very cool layout of, you know, kind of where we stayed. The kitchen was outside, kind of. It was covered, but it was open. It was
definitely outside.
Open layout. Yeah. The bedrooms were in with a door, but the living area was kind of like, it was giving Blue Lagoon. If you ever see that movie, it was giving like the Blue Lagoon
insert a
hut.
picture of what it looked like. It was like a hut. The ceiling was made out of like straw.
Yes.
So it was definitely an interesting layout of where we stayed. The area was very safe though. We didn't feel any, you know, type of way. We were able to walk at night, during the day, whenever we felt okay.
So normally in the other places that we've traveled to, we rented a car, depending on what it's like to travel on your own as an international driver. This doesn't seem like a place where you want to rent a car.
It's like NASCAR.
Yeah, and the traffic gets real, and just the fact that, you know, it's kind of new in terms of tourism. It isn't as developed as some other more touristy areas. So I would recommend that you get connected with a driver that can, you know, help you get around.
Yeah, if you could hire a driver. They do have Uber. Yeah. They do have taxis. But it's more, you'd have to haggle the prices kind of with them. Yeah. Having a driver and being able to just, you know, plan out your day with them, pretty much taking your rear. And our driver helped us out a lot when we did reach certain destinations as well. We just had a snowstorm here in New York, so things was falling and stuff. But our driver, he was really helpful. Even when we went to like restaurants and things like that, you know, if we couldn't communicate, he was there to help us communicate and get into places. So yeah, it's definitely.
He was also able to help us with like some of the things we wanted to do. He could recommend like what we should do first, what we should do last, based on the distance, right? So we wouldn't have known that, you know. So whenever we told him what we wanted to do, he would give us recommendations. And we also happened to be in El Salvador. It was Martin Luther King weekend for Americans, but in El Salvador there was some kind of holiday.
It was like a civil.
Yeah, they had some civil war between the wealthy 14 families and the poor people.
Yeah.
So they were commemorating that you know, I guess the peace that came about after that conflict. And that happened to be on that the Sunday and Monday that we were there. They were celebrating that. So some things were like more closed on Monday. So we arrived Saturday like afternoon. We were tired. Long drive to the Airbnb in El Tunco. El Tunco has a nice little strip where you have like restaurants and little shops and things like that. Because typically when we land somewhere, we want to go to the supermarket and kind of get a few things. We didn't really see a supermarket along the way. I'm sure there are some. Our driver told us,
but we didn't need to.
Right. We didn't need to. So we just, you know, went to the nice little shops and got some like, you know, drinks and snacks for late night. And then we ended up going to Beto's the first night.
That was our first restaurant.
It was a very nice restaurant, like white tablecloth.
Beautiful, scenery. It was really nice there.
Yeah.
So that was a very beautiful restaurant.
We had like oceanfront seats.
Yes. The pricing.
So like a good surf and turf. I'm talking about good surf and turf, like
lobster
tail, right? Yes, and you're looking at maybe $20, $25 for a meal like that.
Yeah.
Even the drinks weren't much.
They were like $5
for something for a table of 3 eating really really good at a nice restaurant. It probably ran us like what, $100.
Yeah, and we're talking about eating good.
Yeah,
we had like escargot, we had clams, we had stuffed lobster, we had steak,
drinks,
fish,
mixed drinks, cocktails. Yeah. Oh yeah, you could do pretty well in terms of budget in El Salvador. Even the shopping, like the souvenirs and stuff, are pretty well priced. So Beto's is definitely a go-to if you are near. It was probably like maybe a 15-minute drive, 20-minute drive from El Tunco where we were staying.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful scene. That would have made like a nice birthday dinner if you want to do something romantic.
Right.
It was definitely not like casual. Even though you had like a mix, the patrons were kind of dressed. Some people were dressed down, people were dressed up. It's a nice vacation fancy dinner spot.
Beautiful ambiance, everything.
Right. So on the Sunday, we ended up going to the Mayan Ruins, which was something I really wanted to do, just because I'm into that kind of like spiritual kind of experiences, and that was my first time ever seeing something like that. It was pretty beautiful. Certain parts of the ruins were kind of roped off where you could tell that people maybe used to be able to climb. So after we finished with the Mayan Ruins, we headed to the Los Volcanes. Bistro Cafe. Volcanes. There you go. And when we arrived, it was a very windy drive up this mountainside. And our driver was sure to lock the doors. So if you're driving, be sure to lock your doors because your things might go missing.
Yeah, I think in certain areas you got to be a little bit more cautious.
Right. So there were a lot of locals there. You didn't see too many people, too many touristy sort of looking people in any of the areas. It was a lot of locals there, a lot of families. So we kind of walked all the way up. We parked at the bottom and we walked all the way up. If you so choose, you can take a guided tour, hike up the mountain. We chose not to do that.
I think they do that early in the mornings. They have like a morning one where you can go, and I think it's a few hours. They take you up the volcano so that you can like actually see inside of it. We didn't do that. We didn't feel the need to hike
after the long drive, and this was day 2 of us getting there. So we weren't up for the physical challenge of doing all that work. We were there to chill. Just going to the cafe and looking over was good enough. It was so beautiful. That was one of my favorite scenes there in El Salvador. They're famous for their breakfast. We didn't make it for breakfast. No, we were in a rush to do so, but the lunch was still pretty good.
It was delicious. And again, price was great.
Right.
So after that, we headed back. down the mountain. There's like she said, it's a lot of winds and turns. So if you get car sick, you might want to bring something with you, or close your eyes, something, whatever gets you through it. You may want to do that if you do take a trip out there, because it's a lot of winding roads and moving and all of that. So that night we came back. Again, it was like an hour and some change to get back to our...
it was an hour and some change everywhere.
To get back
from point A to point B.
Yeah.
And from point B to point C was an hour. It was an hour. Everything is pretty stretched out in El Salvador.
And when we got back, it was, club night, it seemed like that night.
Yeah, in El Tunco.
Yeah, so El Tunco, when you get in there, it's like a little fence that comes up. They have security, military, everything is there. It's a very safe area. They have cameras everywhere. And when you go in, that night, it looks like the clubs was, on and popping, and people were out drinking and having fun. Yeah. We didn't feel like doing any of that night by the time we got back. So we kind of had our own little drinks at the Airbnb, and we had a pool. So, we hung out in the pool the next day. We didn't do anything. We stayed in the pool. We walked down El Tunco, and we found a cafe called Dale Dale.
That was one of my favorites.
We went there pretty much every breakfast.
Yes.
The breakfast was good. Again, the coffee was good. The people were really nice, the hosts and things like that. Yeah. So we went there pretty much every morning.
So in El Tunco, there's a beach that's walking distance right down the strip. There's a strip of restaurants, and right at the end, there's a rocky beach. There were people in the water, but...
and you got to ride the horse.
Yes, I did ride a little horse. Yes, it wasn't like I've been horseback riding where they take you through a long windy path and it takes 30 minutes. This the guy that was on the beach with the horse, he literally took you like to and fro like 10 minutes. It was so beautiful because just the scenery and being on the horse was pretty. It was very beautiful. And there were a couple of vendors out there also on the beach in El Tunco, and just a lot of restaurants and surfer dudes,
Yeah,
surfer dude. It was a surf town.
For dinner, we went to another restaurant out there in El Tunco, which was really good too. And we went to a restaurant called La Bocana. Again, it was by the water, kind of. And we ate good again. Yeah. we ate a lot that day.
A lot of seafood.
Yes.
Steak.
Right, and they had a couple of a band. They weren't for the restaurant. They kind of just traveled along the beach. So it was really nice. They performed, and we, sat. We had drinks, and then we went back to the room again, and that was it for that night. And because we had a long day the next day, that we were going to be driving a lot. Yeah. So our driver, again, he came and picked us up very promptly. When he said he's going to be there at a certain time, he was there.
Carlo.
So, yes, Carlo.
Shout out to Carlo.
So Carlo, he came and he picked us up, and we went to a hot springs in Santa Teresa. We went to a hot springs where and it was $10. Okay, to get into the hot springs.
Everything is affordable.
Yes, we went. It was $10 a person, and pretty much it's like a path or like a trailway. It's like the main house with a restaurant you can eat, and then there's different pools that do different things.
Sort of like cabana areas,
right? Yeah. And it wasn't crowded. We didn't have a lot of people.
Barely any people.
Yeah, it was barely anyone.
We
so
probably saw maybe
walk.
10 people total outside of our group.
Yeah, and you could just walk and get into the different hot springs, the different pools. We didn't have any time limit or anything. No. They kind of just let you roam free.
Right.
And then you could come in and have lunch, which is what we did. We had lunch there. And by the time we had lunch, our driver, he came, picked us up again, and we traveled to...
Well, I feel like the hot springs, just because we had a certain expectation of what it was going to be like. Yeah. And some of the pools were cool. Some of them were hot. And, the hot ones had a little grit to them at the bottom.
Yeah.
And there was a sulfury smell in the air. And some of the little walking paths. It was beautiful. But there was a smell in the air that had like a sulfury kind of...
I think there is another one there. So if you do see another one. But one we went to was in Santa Teresa. Yeah. I wish it was more hot springs, I wanted more.
Yeah. More
but
steaminess.
Yeah, exactly. More.
It wasn't given steaminess.
It wasn't. It
was just a hot pool.
So,
it's a lot of dogs and
in
Elsalvador just walk around freely.
Yeah, so if you feel some type of way about stray animals, that's probably not for you because they are everywhere. Okay, there's dogs, there's cats, there's
bats, roosters.
Yeah, we had bats in our Airbnb.
Yeah.
We had you heard roosters all night.
All night.
All night long.
I didn't even know that roosters made noise all night.
Right. They were nonstop. So the picnic cafe, the famous colorful slide that we went to, we finally ended up there.
After another hour and a half of driving.
Yeah, another hour and a half of driving.
Yeah.
To get to the slide, it's like a little trail. You don't have to do the trail, which is what we found out because we went full circle. But there is a little trail that you can step on things.
Like a playful, child-friendly.
Kind of like Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
It had that feel to it.
That little tree stump thing was a little jank. I didn't like that.
There was like little tree stumps that you had to walk on, but they were a little shifty, and it had like little tires and things like that. You don't have to go on that.
So pretty much when you enter this path to go to the slide, you could cut right there and go to the slide, but it kind of looks like you got to go to this playful little thing, and we ended up right back where we started.
Yeah, so you didn't have to do all that.
Right.
But we did do the slide. The slide was fun. It leaves you a little jittery afterwards because it's fast.
I could have did it again.
It was fun. I did enjoy the slide. So that it was $5 to do the slide. I think it closes at like 5 p.m. So get there before then. The actual restaurant part, they don't close until like 10, 11. But the slide itself closes early, so get there. It's
probably because I could see why they would close it early because it's all trees and scenery.
Yeah.
And if that's dark, that's probably pretty creepy.
Because it is up the mountain, so it's on top of the mountain, and then you're sliding down.
Probably slide in complete darkness.
Right.
Yeah.
So definitely get there earlier. It wasn't a line for that either. It was we just walked up.
What they don't really capture is how fast you really shoot down that thing. Yeah, that thing goes. I don't even scream on rides, and I was like,
because you're kind of like just swirling around. There's no control, no nothing. So, but it was definitely fun. And again, we didn't really have dinner there. We did more of like dessert and coffee.
I had what was it, like a fig cheesecake. I've never had a fig cheesecake, but that thing was delicious.
Their cheesecake was really good.
Yes, and I had a Nutella cappuccino. That's the best cappuccino I ever had in my life. That was some good coffee.
It was. It definitely was. So
I think if I could have did it again, I would have preferred to have eaten our meal at the picnic cafe. Because the hot springs meal, that was probably the most lackluster meal we had the whole time.
The food at the hot springs is more of like, now I wouldn't say amusement park food because I had a steak, but it was more just like
a cookout.
Yeah, kind of like just average type of food. It wasn't like restaurant food. No. So, and then after we did the slide, we came back. We ended up coming back again because
got stuck in traffic.
A lot of traffic. El Salvador has a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
No matter what time you're coming, the traffic is a lot. And to get through it, you got to have somebody that knows how to stick and move.
Yeah. And our driver
he was sticking and moving, okay? I was holding on. Okay? He was going no less than 70.
Yeah.
Okay? That was his limit. It was 70 and we were just holding on and going.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carlo, for getting us out of there.
Yes.
Because I was tired.
He was amazing. And we left on Wednesday.
We stayed a total of 4 days, and I felt like that was sufficient.
It was a perfect amount of time. Yeah.
Even though we enjoyed it, I just felt like we came, we saw, we spent a lot of time in the car.
We did.
And it was just, I felt like that was a good first time stay, 4 days.
But money-wise, we did not spend a lot of money there, and we got to do a lot of things and eat a lot of things and try things. Pupusas is their dish.
Right.
And we got to try pupusas, which is pretty much like a corn tortilla.
Yeah.
And you could put I think they put like meat or cheese or we had shrimp. I had a shrimp pupusa.
Pepper, jalapeno.
Yeah.
You can get different different fillings in it. It's kind of cooked into the flour, and then they put like a tomato sauce and like a relishy thing on top.
Yeah. So try it if you go there. Try a pupusa. Also, the other food that we enjoyed was the chicken, the fried chicken. It was
Carlo put us on to the chicken.
It was pollo campero. Was the name of it. We took back a whole box, each of us. Okay, we were on that plane.
We were coming back in the airport. All the Salvadorians, am I saying that right? All the people who were from El Salvador that were traveling back
they was
out
up
of El
on
Salvador. It. We were in the in crowd with our little bag of pollo
we all
campero.
had it. They had bags of it. They brought home like bags of chicken. That chicken was delicious.
It was delicious.
So try that chicken when you get there. It's called pollo campero.
In the Caribbean, you know, a lot of people are very excited to bring home KFC. It tastes different there. In El Salvador, it's pollo campero. Okay, you have to try that. It's delicious. It has the right amount of spice. It's so good. We didn't taste the size, just the chicken.
Yeah, just the chicken and the hot sauce.
Right, the hot sauce.
The hot sauce was good. So what else?
Also note that something that was weird about the airport coming back, because I like to get exotic hot sauces. I love hot sauce. They would not let me bring my little hot sauce. Like, first of all, we had to do TSA twice.
I don't know if that's just American flights that they do that.
I think so.
Because it kind of, like, you go through it initially.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the area, you know, usually where you can buy, like, souvenirs and things like that. We wanted to buy hot sauce.
Yeah.
Before you can get to the gate again to sit down and wait for your flight, you go through another TSA screening.
Yes.
And they take your hot sauce
at your
if
gate.
you have it.
Not like liquids, period. So they didn't seem to bother the children, but if you had like this, like we had Gatorades,
we had
to
in.
drink it up.
So just make sure you drink all that before, because you will sit there dry mouthed, and if you don't use the bathroom before you go through that, you would have to go through it all over again.
As in, the bathroom is right in sight, but on the other side of the security clearance. So if you go back out there, you have to go through security again. You can bring stuff like hot sauce or if you pack it into your luggage before getting to the airport.
Right.
Well, once you're in the airport, if you go to duty free, they will kind of run your
alcohol
for you to the gate, like on the other side, past security. But anything else, they're no help at all.
They won't let you take it.
They
so just be mindful of that when you do purchase any type of, you know, liquids or anything. Put it in your suitcase before you get there.
It has to be in your checked bag. Yeah, you can't have it as a carry-on at all. This is not a place where you want to get dolled up. Where you want to put on your, you know, all your jazzy stuff. It's a very casual area. Cut off shorts and t-shirts are fine. Even if you're over accessorizing, you're good. Yeah. If you over accessorize and get your face beat and do all this stuff, you're definitely gonna stick out like a sore thumb. Casual is best for El Salvador.
Right. So, like we said, the key things are money-wise. It's a great to go. You don't spend a lot of money,
and you should have cash.
A lot of cash. Carry your cash instead, because you know all the side street things and everything is all cash.
Yeah, and it's American money.
Bitcoins too, though.
We saw the signs. For Bitcoin.
They take Bitcoin. So if that's your
that was interesting. But there's no it's American money. They don't have their own form of currency. It's American money. That was interesting.
So that was good that they all took just U.S. currency.
Yeah, bring your 5s, your 10s.
I think that's pretty much it. Like we said, if you have any other questions, of course, you know, hit us up in the comments. Let us know. Thanks for joining us again. So see you next time for our next video. Thanks again for joining us here at NYC Chat Room with Tiffany and Lauren. We'll see you next time.